The top 4 marketing mistakes that you should avoid when it comes to creating content online for your business. Let's get into it. So, creating content for your business can be a lot of work. It's actually incredibly overwhelming, and I don't think we acknowledge that enough. When you go online, people are always saying you need to post 3 times a day, you need to post 5 times a day. They're talking about how much content you need to create, but rarely are we acknowledging how overwhelming it is, especially if you have other responsibilities that you're balancing. So today I want to talk about some of the mistakes to avoid so that way you can maximize the time and energy that you're putting into promoting your business online. Let's get into it. One of the mistakes that a lot of online business owners make is they are so goal oriented in the fact that they want to make money online that they actually end up neglecting connecting with their audience. So it's actually called social media for a reason because we're meant to be social and make connections. So it's not enough for someone just to know that you're an expert in order to buy from you. They also have to be connected to you. There is a such thing as emotional buyers. Those folks are going to want to know your story, your journey. And so it's important that you figure out what your core stories are and you share them. The stories that you share should focus on your journey, right? How did you become an expert in this? What led you to discover this passion? But more than that, your story should be positioning your expertise. So sharing stories with intention is incredibly important when your goal is to sell. And so there's actually a 4-part framework that I have for storytelling and selling through story that I teach inside of my course, Creating Content That Converts, which you can access in the link down below. But telling stories is incredibly important when it comes to converting your audience because it starts with connection, especially on social media platforms. All right, so number two. Number 2 is friend zoning. Because what happens is when you end up oversharing and creating a lot of content that's all about you and telling your story, talking about your starting point, the struggle you had that got you here, your audience will definitely be engaged because they relate and the content is relevant because you're telling stories that reach where they are now in their journey. But when you share stories that connect to where your audience is now without bridging the gap between where you were and how you got to where you are and your expertise and what you do now in business, you end up being friend zoned in the mind of your audience. And so what this looks like is they're constantly engaging, they're liking your posts, and they're maybe even sharing it, which is amazing. And we want that to happen with our content, but they're not buying. And so they're not buying because they have friend zone you in their mind. You're someone they relate to, they see themselves in, they haven't built a level of trust with you as an expert to the point where they're ready to invest in your services. Number 3, passive resharing. This one is one that gets me every time. Okay, so if your goal is to be able to sell your services, make money, establish yourself as an expert, you need to not just be passively resharing things via Instagram story. And what this looks like is you see something that resonates with you. Either it is something you disagree with, where you're like, I can't believe this person is sharing this outdated strategy. I can't believe this. Like, or you feel really aligned to what someone's sharing. Maybe it's a quote that really touches your heart and you reshare to your story, but you don't give any context. This is great because people are engaging, but they don't actually come to trust you more. They don't get to see your expertise. They don't get to come to connect with you any deeper because they don't know why you're resharing it. And so in this instance, I would encourage you to be able to share this piece of content, but then follow up with a quick clip about why you were led to share this and what your thoughts and opinions are on this topic. You need to be able to establish yourself as an expert, not just by talking about your process, your framework, but by also giving a strong stance on where you feel aligned in the industry. Because this is going to help people in your audience self-identify that they want to work with you. Because there are people that feel very strongly about the things that you do and that relate and resonate. And maybe they have been hurt by some of the practices that are going on in the industry, or, those practices don't work for them. And so when you take a hard stance on something, whether you're firmly agreeing with it or disagreeing, your people are going to be like, that's my coach, right? I kind of like to think about it as if we are all wearing prescription lenses, and there are people who are listening to your content who they have the same prescription as you. And so when you put on your lens and you talk about how you see the world, they're going to be like, that's my coach. So be confident with clearly articulating what you think and feel when it comes to your industry and your beliefs. And then the last thing is something that we all know to be true, okay? But this tends to be a really big struggle for us, which is inconsistency. This mistake will cost you time and money. Inconsistency. There's a lot of pressure for you to post every single day and create new content all the time and be creative. And all of this pressure is exhausting. But I want to say that, like, you don't have to do what everyone else is doing. Your actions actually shouldn't be a copy and paste of someone else who has the amount of followers you have or who has the kind of success that you want. Your actions should be based on your goals. Think about it as a GPS. You should have a goal for the platform you're posting on, and then that goal should be fueled by a strategy. And so this is how you develop your content plan. If you're trying to figure out where to start with figuring out how much you should post, what you should be sharing, I want to tell you about the Creating Content That Converts course. This course walks you through how to create goals for your content, how to master the art of storytelling. We talk about dealing with the fear of rejection when it comes to creating content online, which is one of the biggest things that actually gets in our way when it comes to being consistent. It actually isn't the fact that we lack clarity. It is the fear of being rejected. What happens when I go all in? And so I actually have an exercise inside the course that walks you through how to reframe your mindset around rejection when it comes to showing up and creating content online for your business. If you're interested, the link is down below. But I hope that this video has been helpful in terms of helping you to be able to avoid some of these common mistakes that people make when it comes to creating content online for their business that costs them time, money, child, and a whole lot of energy. Until next time, bye.